The brain speaks in electricity, tiny pulses that travel along millions of cells. With this EEG cap, we can listen in, translating patterns into the alpha, beta, and gamma waves you see here. When the frontal cortex
of a background in public speaking. So it's a lot of this stuff for me isn't really that bad.
What is that background?
I study psychology.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I study human behavior. I've been studying it for almost about 10 years now, probably going on about 11 years.
Oh, yeah, so you can get your master's, right?
That's funny. No, ironically as that sounds, I actually have never taken a class in psychology ever.
Yeah.
And what I've been doing is I can assimilate notes from other people. My sister took a psychology class. My girlfriend, she had a psychology class. Do I know everything? Absolutely not. You know what I'm saying? But when you go to a class, you think, oh, you've got it. You've got that idea, whatever it is. You think that you've accumulated, or you've got it. And they really don't know anything because you haven't applied the knowledge.
100%.
I've actually applied the knowledge. So that's a quick story.
Hey, man, Trump be proud. I didn't study this for sure, but I know people who have, and I'm very confident in my abilities. But I get it. But it's, well, I guess it's not this to you, but it's because I be feeling that same way, kind of.
Yeah.
Because me, I've been doing, my job is a maintenance tech for an apartment complex.
Yeah.
That's the first job I've had, and I just stuck with it. So I've been doing it for basically almost 12 years now, coming up. And I'm 29, so I've been doing this for a while now.
Okay.
So I've been up on my 12 years, and I've seen people from every walk of life you can imagine.
Man, yeah.
Homeless to rich.
I can imagine.
And all different types of stories, people who have good, loving, caring parents, kids who got good, loving parents, kids who have parents who neglect the fuck out of them. The house completely trashed. They don't give a fuck. Kids dirty type shit.
And you're just in there? Wow.
Trying to fix up whatever the hell these people broke. But it's when you see these people and you hear their conversations and stuff, and that's when I get to talking to them, you see a lot of things with mental health and stuff like that is very much real. So really to study it and know what you're talking about with it is very important.
Yeah.
Because, even me, I've gone through a bit of depression. Have you gone through depression?
No, never. Depression is an interesting concept because I really do believe it's all, this is another one of those psychological things, but it's something like depression, I think only exists based on what environment you're in. You could be in a depressive environment and it can invite depression. Yeah. Now, could it be permanent? Could it be temporary? I think it can go either or.
Yeah.
If you never saw the sun ever again and it only rained, that'd be kind of depressing.
Living in Oregon.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. So it's and the idea is if you never saw it ever, well, you might not be as happy as you would be, when you see the sun. So that may be depressing.
Right.
And it could be permanently depressing unless you decide to move or so forth. Right. So the idea is that the depression is not this one thing. People think that I had especially in this generation we live in today, they've got all these self-diagnoses. I've got ADHD.
Right.
Right. I've got oh my God, I think I've got ADD.
Bipolar.
Right. I'm schizophrenic.
Oh.
It's
if they're saying they're schizophrenic, that one's kind of you can tell if someone's schizophrenic.
Yeah, that's schizophrenia. You got to be actually diagnosed and proven.
That one is
because that shit is I've known a few people who actually became schizophrenic.
Yeah,
sure.
And there's also other contributing factors, like I said, with depression, because some people moods, in my opinion, are just dialed to be their mood. Other people, when they feel pain, they don't feel this same way. If I slap your hand, slap his hand all the same way,
right?
Would it hurt everybody the same type shit?
Well, no, and we're all different, but we're all the same. And, what I like to do is, number one, I like to challenge diagnosis, and number two, I like to make a distinction called we're all human beings. And I think we often forget that.
Right.
Sometimes your ego gets too big and you forget that you're a human being. So when you make an error, if you're a perfectionist, you beat yourself up, but you forgot that you were a human being.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's really important to get that, hey,
It's a great way of putting it.
Yeah, it totally is. Even on some landmark stuff, but it's hey, the idea of ADD or ADHD, well, hey, everybody's focus isn't going to be the same. And number one, men, especially little boys, are going to have a lot of energy.
Right.
Growing up at a young age. So when teachers try to diagnose young kids to say that they have ADD because they're not sitting in class for 6 to 7 hours straight, like a woman could.
Yeah. Teachers will diagnose, like your guidance counselor. Like,
Absolutely,
it's
because
like when you
the school gets money.
oh, dude,
I
like
didn't know that.
when you have a kid and you give your kid to the school for the day, like you send them to school for the day, that's no longer your kid. That's theirs. That's why you have to sign them out of class. You have to call ahead, and that's like if you miss so many days, it's like a truance. Like you can go to jail for that shit.
But I don't think teachers can prescribe.
No, they
No, but
like
they can make a recommendation.
they can like
Yeah.
they'll send them down to the guidance counselor. They'll make recommendations. They'll ask like, hey, can we do X, Y, Z? And a lot of it is because a big business is a motherfucker. It just don't start with one person. It's like a multitude. Like Big Pharma, they'll come to schools. They'll be like, hey, if you have kids exhibiting these types of forms of depression or exhibiting these signs,
Right.
we have a pill. We have something that we recommend that they can take. This is yada, 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 been approved by FDA, FCC. They're going to pay the teachers or whoever money to like, hey, put this in your school for us. Like, you know, a lot of
Teachers union.
yeah, they lobbyists. It's like
Yeah.
when it comes to lobbyists, man, those are like the most powerful rich motherfuckers in the world.
Yeah.
Because every month, every like Fortune 500 company has a lobbyist behind them.
But let me speak from experience here, because when I was a freshman in high school, I got diagnosed with ADD. But
I did the same. They tried to diagnose when I was a little kid.
Yeah.
My parents said that the doctor said I had symptoms of ADD.
Okay.
You know, and I can see it in my work ethic is that I can get distracted really easily.
Right.
You know, but that doesn't mean necessarily that I have ADD, because one of the ingredients with ADD is that they cannot multitask. And my multitasking is excellent because I work in a restaurant.
Right.
It has to be. My
Right.
multitasking is very good.
Oh,
So unless you meet the requirements of the diagnosis, do I even really have the diagnosis, or is my ability to get distracted really even a distraction, or is it my ability to pay attention? Is it awareness?
Right.
Is it my ability to pay attention to multiple things at one time? So this is the deep dive into the assessment. You have ADHD, you have AD, you have OCD,
yeah,
right?
but like at the time though, when they were prescribing all these medicines and stuff, they had no evidence of any documented research to back this shit up. They just created the drug.
It's big, but it's big. Like you said, it's big pharmacy.
They had the fucking what's the name had fought back on them on their ass on that shit. It was Mission Impossible actor Tom Cruise.
Oh, hey, oh yeah, I heard about
What did
that.
he do?
Like he was on the news and he was telling people like at the time when they ADHD was really like becoming the main thing concerned about the kids being in school.
Oh, okay.
He was saying, no, you don't got to get your kids like these drugs and shit like that. It was also like
Smart,
kids with depression, like when they started giving little children Xanax and shit. Like I called that shit at an early age. I was like, man,
That's suburban mom shit right there, bro.
because like
For real.
it's like you got to understand they have to justify their wages.
Yeah.
So if nobody's out here getting sick, they're gonna make some shit to get you sick.
Let me finish that story. So I'm a freshman. I'm going into freshman year of high school, right?
Yeah.
And my mom takes me to the doctor because my sister had been diagnosed with ADHD, which she actually had. You could just tell because it calmed her down when she would take it. When I took it, I was focused as hell. And my mom's like, oh, well, this seemed to help you, because I would always fuck off in school. Like, you know, in 8th grade, dude. I was too busy slamming pussy at that time. Thank
If
you.
it was a movie theater in the house, look out, Johnny's coming.
For real. I have a story about a movie theater, but I'm not going to talk about that right now. But I go to the doctor. He gives me like the test or whatever. It was like a thing to fill out.
Yeah.
The questions were whack, bro. They were like, do you run around and make airplane noises and shit? And I'm like, no. What, like 12 at this point? And my mom's like, after it's done and turns out I don't have it, she's like, well, I know he has it. Let's get him prescribed ADD. And then the doctor goes, well, I can't unless he proves it through this test. We can retake the test. And then as we're taking the test, this guy is reading the questions to me and he's going, do you do this? Like,
Come on, man, like go get
say yes, say yes. You know, because he's going to pay for the prescription. And so I got prescribed it. It became a problem.
That was the house mom's favorite drug right there. Because like you just give this to the kid, they go quiet down, you go off, bottle of Chardonnay, just in the back listening to Dreams by Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
So,
Yeah. So I mean, that's you know what's funny about that, you know, and that's a great story by the way. You know, is there really is a narrative push here, and even on some landmark stuff, I know you get at least some of the stuff is that there's an impact.
Right.
There's an impact on the side of the kid. There's an impact on the side of the parent. There's an impact on the side of the administrator. You know, there's an impact on the, you know, on the pharmacy.
Yeah.
So it's like everybody, there's an impact
That's all
everywhere.
society, yeah.
Right. There's some sort of impact. Hey, well, the mom gets, like you said, used to down a whole bottle of Chardonnay,
You're right.
vodka, whatever. You know, the kid is, oh, well, I'm focused now. So the kid has all sorts of different registrations going on in his head. Well, I guess this works. I guess I need this. I guess, well, mom said I'm supposed to, well, the doctor, well, the school, the principal, you know, so it's so many components here, and all of it is fake. All of it is false.
Right.
And that's so hard to digest, because we really want to do what's best for the kids, you know, as a parent. And when all of that isn't actually real for your child, that isn't a drug, you know, because they didn't have this stuff, you know, when you go like back to the 60s or the 50s, you know, I would hear stories that they didn't have a lot of kids with autism or anything like that.
Yeah.
And autism isn't necessarily bad. You know, it just means that their ability to process or understand certain components as everyone else would is slightly different or differentiated, or they're divergent.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Perhaps. You know, so that's the whole idea, is that you can actually mold an autistic kid to as you would, quote unquote, a regular human being or a regular citizen. You know what I'm saying? So it's more than possible to do it. I've heard of it being done. I've seen it done a couple times.
Some of those kids with autism like are very much like genius, like on the like
Totally,
100%.
because see, and there's this, we're diving very deep, but there's this book called the Kabbalion.
That's that deep.
There's book called the Kabbalion, and one of the principles inside the Kabbalion is like this book that
The
like
Kabbalion.
it goes over like universal laws,
Okay.
you know, like spiritual. You might have heard some of this stuff. It's kind of overplayed a little bit, but what I'm about to say is going to make sense. There's a principle called the principle of compensation.
Okay.
So, you know, we all do things to compensate for other things.
Yes.
You know, it's not conscious either.
Right.
But it's something
right.
you just do. You know, like if
subconsciously.
totally,
You know what I mean?
you know,
Yes, yeah.
so it's in our actions, it's in our, you know, whatever we're doing, sports, you know, say we're driving a car. So, you know, the idea is that we always try to find things to compensate for other things. So what an autistic kid does is that, hey, if they don't have certain things, certain components that maybe other people have, they're going to subconsciously try to find a way to compensate for those things. So that's what makes them seem like a genius, is because, okay, maybe this person can't speak well. Okay, maybe they have poor social skills. Oh man, but they can retain information really well. Well, his memory is actually really good.
Right.
But he can't socialize and he can't tell you that. But if you know how to pick it up, because because I'm versed in the psychological world, I can pick up on, oh my God, okay, he actually, see, a kid like that wouldn't know that. He wouldn't know that
Right.
the first and second president, and he wouldn't know about it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like for him to know that and me to pick up on it, that
Right.
means number one, that I know that he has some level of some sort of like ability, whatever it is. Maybe he has poor memory, but he's got really good speaking skills.
Whatever we doing, we on the map. Wherever we going, we on the track. You see me, I'm next, just me and my best. Catch her outside, I'm clean and fresh. Wherever we going, we on the map. Wherever we going,